I have several meters also, Thomas. I have a tri-field meter which measures, the microwave frequencies and what have you. And but I have yet to find, like, if I get it's. At one time it was embarrassing, it's not anymore, because I tell my viewers this and I'm not afraid to tell the truth. They like to shock me in the testicles, and it makes me flinch, and it's very frustrating throughout the day to put up with such a thing. For 7 years it's been going on. But
have you I have to ask you, because you're not the first person who's mentioned or introduced, or I've had people come up to me, right, who've experienced this, some of you say a phenomena, right? Have you ever determined the source of it? Because it's not just general field energy. It has to be directed or concentrated in form. It does. Otherwise, I remember you mentioned, I told you, it was actually cut, it was blocked out. You never walked in front of the airplane when we were running it up and testing all the radar stuff. They had a special place for that, right? It was really shielded.
Okay.
For all the obvious reasons. And one of the things they mentioned to you, if you caught yourself, out there, that you might, and it was sort of the joke, you would neuter yourself, right? You would render yourself unable to have kids. But were you ever able to determine the source?
no. And the simple fact is, I do know that a lot of times they can drive a sharp pain into, like, my hand, for instance, or my kidney or something, and all I have to do is move it to the right, to the left, keep moving it, and the pain stops immediately. And unfortunately, a lot of times I do that to make the pain go away. And
I had people were worried that they were doing that with me, but I don't have any indication, I actually don't, that they were deploying any type of kind of directed beam technology or energy technology.
Now, Jacob Applebaum, I'm sure you know very well.
Yep, I know him personally.
Yep. I've showed a video of him probably it wasn't a year ago, but it was after that conference in Germany with the military occupation of the entire internet, the Hamburg, Germany conference he did.
Oh, that's the Chaos Computer Club, of which I used to belong, and I actually spoke there with Bill Binney and Jesselyn Radak back. It was 29C3. It was the Chaos Computer Conference. That was in December of 2012.
2013, I believe.
Okay, that would have been the next year's conference.
Yeah, it was 30C.
Okay. Yeah, he spoke there, yeah.
Well, anyways, I showed the viewers this, 6 months ago, whatever it was, and boy, I had a lot of interesting comments. I shortened it down. It was an hour video that he had up on YouTube. I just showed like 5 minutes of how they could intercept computers. If you order them through the internet, the NSA could intercept them and plant them. But he also went into this about hitting people with a beam and causing cancer.
Yeah, because the beams, in order to pick up certain kinds of signals, you have to have, the signal itself has to be pretty strong in order to penetrate and also be able to pick up and retrieve, record it. And yes, I remember, unfortunately, it can, long term, it can certainly have damaging effects on your person.
Well, I've experienced an attack against my nervous system, and I do take a certain medication that helps with that, Ativan, that helps to take away the shakes from these constant hits. And Barry Trower from England, the microwave specialist, he recommended to me to take my shoes off, because I asked him, why do I feel like I'm being grounded, like I'm like my legs are weak? He said the problem is you have this energy coming into you, but it has no way of getting out. And God is my witness, Thomas, when I take my shoes off immediately and touch them on the ground, all that stops. All that,
I don't do it as much as I used to. Anytime I worked on electronics, even going way back when I was sort of doing my hardware hacking days, but I'm talking about just upgrades and modifications, all above board, okay? I always had on my bench, I would have, it was one of those mats, and I also wore a discharge glove. So it was actually linked to me. And the thing was, I left my shoes on, okay, with rubber soles, because that way you were sort of electrically floating. In this case, because if you don't discharge, it builds up, right?
Exactly.
So in my case, I didn't want anything coming, but if it comes in, how do you discharge it? Yeah, you know the old joke, because you take off your shoes and you go across the carpet and you get the static electricity. Well, yeah, you're discharging.
What I'm thinking about, and
we would touch. I always touched. It was always a habit, pure habit. It's sort of like the electric, the lightning poles on the old farmhouse. We had lightning rods on all the buildings, and usually had like 3 of them. It wasn't just one in the middle. You had like one in each end and in the middle. And it was literally went straight into the ground. It was just this like a 4 or 5 foot pole, a metal pin that you drive into the ground, and you had this little loop thing where the cable, which was braided, would actually fit into. And it's true, no matter what kind. We had electrical storms in Vermont, but we never had any damage to the buildings because the lightning rods would discharge it right into the ground.
I'm looking at the government. When the government has control, and I'm thinking of the IRS especially, they're finding things are missing on their computers. Now, is this stuff traceable, or are they telling us the truth that they can't get that information back? Because now we've got about 20 different computers on all people who communicated with the IRS. It's disappeared. Can we ever get that back?
Well, I think they're doing cover-up, right? Is it possible to retrieve it? Yeah, there's techniques, though, that would make it nearly impossible to retrieve it. This is the reverse. They're trying to obscure data and destroy it so it can't be recovered.
Yeah, and when the Justice Department becomes a organization that protects the people that are doing wrong deeds, that's terrible. And nobody's building it up. Nobody's talking about in this country how the IRS is protected by the Department of Justice, and that's bad news. And as far as whistleblowers are concerned, I say they're witnesses. They're witnesses to things that are going wrong, and we have to listen to these so-called whistleblowers and think of them as being witnesses to wrongdoings.
Well, remember, you had the 3 branch in our form of government, which is a constitutional republic. It's technically, it's a special form of democracy, but it's actually a constitutional republic. 3 branches of the government. The press. That's why the First Amendment. Remember, the Constitution is, even with it passed as it was passed, right? I mean, you had the original 13 states. Went out for ratification. That came back a couple years later, but there was all this hue and cry about, well, wait a minute. How do we protect ourselves from the government? How do we guarantee the government won't intrude or violate us as people? And so you had the 10 Amendments. That First Amendment, the free press, no law, right? No, Congress shall make no law, right? So the press was the 4th estate. It was considered that the other branch. Remember, the branch outside of the 3 that keep the other 3 in check. What if they're not doing their job? What if they're stenographers for the government? They're parroting. What if they're lapdogs, not watchdogs? Well, then you have the Fifth Estate. And the Fifth Estate, and obviously I'm saying this based on how far the government went to come after me, prosecute me, try to put me away for many, many decades in prison for quote-unquote espionage of all things. Well, the whistleblowers and the truth tellers are the Fifth Estate. We are the canaries.
And Thomas, we believe it or not, we only have a minute left. That was 50 minutes. Went very fast. Okay, and if I can, would you please come on again, Thomas? Because I only got through probably 20% of what I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll just work it through email. We'll schedule. I guess is Monday night sort of your best night?
Monday night we're on live at 7 o'clock every Monday night. So
let's see what we can do to work in another Monday, and if necessary, we can do a pre-record.
Great.
And the information you gave to our listeners was excellent. Thank you very much.
No, you're welcome.
Thomas, thank you again. God bless you.
Take care.
Bye.
Yep. All right, that's it. Good night, everyone. God bless. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Well, either you know or you don't know.
You cannot know what I know. That's all.